Hurricanes to wildfires, even civil unrest. There are so many threats to our safety and that of our families. But there's a guy who will be ready no matter what comes his way. And he's actually written a book about it. Bill Fulton is an Army vet who has extensive weapons training. He knows how to live off the land, and he is sharing lots of information with us in Survive and Thrive, how to prepare for any disaster without ammo, camo, or eating your neighbor. Clearly, he also has a sense of humor, and he joins us live via Zoom this morning. Bill, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so talk about the reason behind putting this book out. Obviously, you have a lot of experience in this.
Yeah, I got out of the Army, went into law enforcement and emergency management before I started a sustainable farm here in Vermont. And when COVID hit, everyone I knew called me and was like, what are we supposed to do? I read a book and it scared me. And I went, okay, I'll send you some toilet paper. I want you to calm down, stay home. And after about the 50th phone call like that, I called up, my editor and was like, hey, I should write a book about this.
There you go.
So that's what happened.
And there it is. So talk to us about why it's so crucial, especially in this time. I mean, let's we've moved past COVID a bit, but we've got so many other things to worry about. Tell us about some of the first steps and why it's so important to have this knowledge.
Well, being prepared for disaster beforehand, we've all seen empty store shelves. We've seen lines at gas stations. If you're not prepared before it happens, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to be prepared afterwards. So, it's written in a way that lets people be prepared, but it's more from a self-sufficiency standpoint than necessarily stockpiling 8,000 cans of beans in your bunker.
Well, that's good. And you start with water. So tell us why you start there. Obviously pretty important.
Water being the most important thing out there. You have a couple days without water and things are going to look pretty grim. So we kind of started at where, most people should probably focus. And one of those is making sure that you have a good, clean water supply.
Okay, perfect. And we're watching video of you right now kind of foraging out there. Let's move on to food. Obviously, that's a great skill to have if you can go out there and find your own. But how else can people prepare food-wise?
Well, food-wise, we talk in the book about the, 8 essentials that you want in your pantry, which are oats, powdered milk, honey, dried beans, rice, dried pasta, peanut butter, and salt. And those are great as long as you have a way to prepare them. If you don't, having a few cans of extra soup. What's important is don't have things you're not going to eat. Going out and buying specific like emergency rations and stuff, it's a great idea, except those do expire. And if it's not something you regularly eat, don't store it. So store up extra of what you're already going to use. And that makes economic sense too.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And then talk about some other maybe basic supplies that people should always have in their house just in case.
Flashlight, basic toolkit, battery operated drill, all pretty simple stuff. Just know where it is. We also recommend that you have an emergency weather radio because, a lot of us have our cell phones. That's where we do everything. And the first thing that happens in a disaster is everybody gets on their phone and the network goes down. So we advise that you have just a small emergency radio so that you can listen to weather and emergency broadcasts.
Okay. And of course, we're up here in Michigan. You're in Vermont. You can relate to this. Winter is around the corner. Talking winter storms. What are some things that we can do right now to prepare before the snow flies?
So we were just talking about food. Have a way to cook food. If you live in an apartment or in a suburban environment that allows you to have a propane barbecue outside, only outside, we advise that you get a couple extra propane tanks. A lot of these things are really simple. They don't take a lot of money. It's just a little forethought. So, have a secondary heat source. Those of us that live up north, we know that when the power goes out, sometimes our heaters don't work. Most of us have a secondary heat source. So the most important thing is water, food, and heat in the winter for us. And make sure that you know how to shut your water off so that your pipes don't freeze. There's specific wrenches and stuff that you need for that. So make sure you have the one for your home. Know where those valves are. Just basic things. But we have to deal with the whole freeze thaw issue whenever we have a storm. And we see a lot of damage because of that. So, getting your water turned off, knowing where your breaker box is, things like that.
Basic knowledge. I love that you're breaking this all down for us. And if you want to learn more, if you want to be prepared in case of an emergency, you got to get Bill's book. You can get it at any retailer, Amazon.com, Survive and Thrive by Bill Fulton. Thanks so much for your time.